Jamming, yeah, jamming. I hope you like a jamming too. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jamencast. Now, this is a podcast. Obviously, you're listening to it. And what exactly do I want from this podcast, and why are you listening? Why should you listen? What's the future of this podcast? What keeps you coming back? And first off, I hope it's me a little bit. I don't think I should be the main draw, but my purpose and my hope is that I'll get to interview some really great people eventually in the video game industry, because I really love video games. I am excited about video games all the time, and I just want to share that with people, and I want to somehow create something that allows me to continue to enjoy video games, but also interact with other people who create games, who play games, who help manage everything around the realm of video games, esports managers, game developers, players, all great things. I want those. I want to talk to those people. So from the smallest player that's playing maybe Candy Crush, I want to know why. Why do you play these games? Why do we do this as a society? It's fun, right? There's obvious reasons, but why this game or why that game? Everyone's individual and everyone has their own lives and purposes and games that they play. And there are some of the giant games, there's the Maddens and the FIFAs that just have insane sales and insane amount of people playing them because of their obvious draws and things like that. But I want to get to know those people. I want to get to know every single person that gets on my podcast. That's the hope, is that I'm here to curate some really great moments and some really great time with people who we don't know, that you might not know, that I don't know, that we can learn together how to communicate with these people and kind of understand someone else's life a little bit better, get a little window, a glimpse into what it's like to just be a player, someone who just plays this game, this specific game. Who are they? What do they want? And then, maybe get some people on and see what they do and just enjoy it. And just as a way for people to just enjoy learning about other people, and video games being the thing that brings us together to do that. So who am I, really? That's a good question, right? So why am I doing a podcast? What gives me the right? Well, first off, it's a podcast. I can do anything I want, so thank you. Stop questioning me. To be a little less snarky, I am Jamin. I've been playing video games since I was a child, probably a baby. I remember having a Nintendo Entertainment System when I was growing up. I'm 30 years old, by the way. That's I don't know if that's obviously just a Nintendo Entertainment System, but I had a Nintendo Entertainment System growing up. I remember having the Duck Hunt and Mario combo package, and then we had the gun, obviously the light gun. We had the pad that you put on the ground that you could run on to do the track and field. And then some of my favorite games I remember from the Nintendo Entertainment System was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. The first one, it was ridiculously hard. There was a swimming level with tentacles and electricity, and it was ridiculous. It was a very difficult game for that portion. I don't think I ever beat that game because I couldn't get past the swimming section, but I just enjoyed the Ninja Turtles so much that I played it a ton. And then we also, obviously, I just said that we had Duck Hunt, we had Mario, and those games were really formative for me, those games. But I think the Super Nintendo is really where I started, getting into video games. And we had Mario 3, and learning that you could, crouch down on the white tile in the first level, is it? I can't even remember now. And then you would drop behind the game, and you could run to the exit and jump up, and you would get teleported to the next level, and you could get the whistle, the flute, and you could teleport to the next level. There's all these little things behind the scenes. You didn't have to actually play the game. You could just teleport to the end. It was great. It really changed the way I saw games, and it was so much fun. And just controlling Mario himself was enjoyable. And then Final Fantasy IV is probably my favorite game of all time because of the memories I have for it as a formative game. I don't stress over Final Fantasy IV, but when I think about it, I have very fond memories. Because it was the first game, and spoiler alert if you've never played it, it was the first game that you start off in this very fantasy, very high fantasy, magic-based place with a little bit of steampunk because they have airships and stuff. And then it turns into very sci-fi because by the end of the game, you're inside a giant robot. and you're climbing up a giant robot to go do stuff. And just it blew my mind as a child to play this game and have this happen and on a Super Nintendo and see how much could happen and how much narratively could be pushed into a game when there's just little pixels going on and just music and beautiful. And I mean, that game made me cry. I think it was the first game that made me cry. Just feeling emotions and feeling that was a really big deal. Then we get into teenage years, and I'm playing World of Warcraft. I think that probably is the biggest game. I mean, there was StarCraft. I played on my computer. I played RTS games, a lot of StarCraft, some Diablo 1 a little bit. I never played Diablo 2 until I was older. But World of Warcraft, StarCraft, I played Warcraft 3 after I played World of Warcraft. And then Command and Conquer were very big games for me. So a lot of RTS games on my computer. Command and Conquer Red Alert 2, Command and Conquer Generals, Command and Conquer, what was the other one? It was, General Zero Hour, the next one was out. And then World of Warcraft was a really big one for me. Obviously, I've said it a couple times. I started in the Burning Crusade, and I remember, I was leveling, and then I heard about the portal opening up, and people were pouring into it. I think I was like level 20 or level 25 in World of Warcraft when the portal opened and everyone dashed through it, and they were telling me how amazing it was. They were like, "Oh, if you had been there, you would have seen." And I was like, "I'm 20, I can't get there." It's so anyway, I'm excited for a classic. That's besides the point. I'm going through my history a little before, and I played a lot in Burning Crusade. I went to Karazhan. I ended up, going to Black Temple and stuff. It was near the end of the system, the game though. So I never really got into Sunwell. I did Black Temple and I did Tempest Keep, and those were really fun to do. But I was kind of, I wasn't really raiding on a schedule. I was just kind of getting when I got a chance to go in. I would go with these people, and it was a lot of fun. And I played a shaman, by the way. So I started off as a mage, and then I ended up playing a shaman for most of my time. Because shamans got easy raid groups. It was really easy to bring me into Black Temple because they were like, "Yeah, we need you for my melee group." I was on a mage, and I was like, "Yeah, can I come with you guys?" And they're like, "What's your item levels? What's your DPS?" And I'm like, "I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just trying to get items, and I want to go see this." And they go, well, we need a shaman, so sorry." And I go, "Well, I have a shaman." And they go, "Oh, you do?" And I go, "Yeah, but he has even worse gear than my mage. You wouldn't want him." And they go, No, it's fine. Bring your shaman." And then I ended up getting Magtheridon's Lair, and I remember getting the Naru mace and having this giant two-handed mace. And I was like, "Guys, can I have that mace?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can have the mace. Nobody wants that two-hander." And I was like, "Well, shamans with two-handers are really cool, right?" They're like, "Yeah, whatever." So I thought it was cool. It was fun. So shaman ended up being my main class. I think I ended up going elemental during Wrath of the Lich King. And that's when I started really raiding hardcore. And I got it, we did 25-man heroic Lich King. We got server first. I'm a little bit story behind that, but I'm not going to go into it right now. World of Warcraft really was a big part of my life. So much so that I started a podcast. Not this podcast. It was called Cataclysm, and it was when Cataclysm was coming out. So we called ourselves Cataclysm. My brother, my cousin, and I, we all started it together. And it was great. It was so much fun. I had a blast doing it, and I wish we had continued doing it. But scheduling came up and things happened in real life, and we just couldn't do it anymore. It was not feasible, so we ended up stopping. And for the last 10 years, it's almost been since I've done Cataclysm, I've been feeling this itch to do something again, to get back into the video games, and not just World of Warcraft, but everything. And I'm excited. This is the podcast, and this is what I want to do, and I'm excited about doing it and seeing where it goes. So I hope to have you guys along for the ride. I hope people enjoy this, and I hope it's something that people will stick around for, and I hope I can bring something that's interesting and fun and just share this love of video games that I have with other people and see what happens. We'll see what happens. So I think a good segment to start off with every week is what have I been doing this week? Because it's my podcast. I want to talk about what I've been doing. So I stream a lot on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jamin. If you haven't looked at it, I would appreciate any follows on there. It's fun. It's just really fun to stream. But I feel like it's not growing at the rate I was hoping for when I started like a year and a half ago. It's not growing as much as I thought it would. Just trying to stream because it's my fault. I need to be more on a schedule. I need to stick with it better instead of some of the things I just haven't done what I need to. But I think I'm going to kind of put that on the side. It'll be a thing I do. If it becomes big, if it becomes enjoyable, I'll do it more often. But if so far, I think this podcast will be an easier way for me to generate content and put things out on a schedule that people can enjoy at their own leisure. So I don't have to be online constantly. I can go do things. I can have a life. Because it's very difficult to work a full-time job, go to school, which is something I'm doing, and try to stream on a schedule. It's very hard to have a dynamic schedule, and I want people to enjoy my content. So this is what I'm doing now. This podcast. This is the attempt. We'll see what happens. But this week I've played some Command & Conquer Generals on my stream. I rebought this game. It was like $20 for a big purchase on Origin. It's got a bunch of Command & Conquer games. And I loved this game as a child, as a kid, growing up, because this was the first game I got my dad to play with me. So I played Command & Conquer Generals with him, and it was an RTS game. He's not a very big computer guy, so getting him to play Command & Conquer Generals was awesome, and it was really fun to, me and my brothers, much better than him at it, but just having him play with us was a lot of fun. And so playing it again and seeing the time capsule that is Command & Conquer Generals, seeing it and what it is a really big deal. It came out in 2003. I don't know. I have to look at the expansion pack. I've forgotten when the expansion pack came out. Generals 0 Hour. I'm sure it was like 2004, 2005. But 2003 was when the first one came out, and it's a time capsule. The game is literally a time capsule of the nationalism and like war time that we were into at the time. Like literally, it's extremely. I don't know if I would call it racist. I feel like it. You could call it racist if you wanted to, but it's not necessarily racist. It just is weird. It's really weird. There's the GLA, which is basically ISIS. GLA is one of the factions you can play as. And they are, I think they're Pakistani based, but they also have their main base in Iraq, but they're like, the campaign has them in Pakistan, and it's just a little weird. It's odd. But they have chemical weapons, Scud missiles, and they chemical their own, civilians, and they're based in Iraq, and it was right before the Iraq War, and it's kind of weird. It's almost literally like this is what George W. Bush was briefed before we went into Iraq. They were like, hey, play this game, George W. And he's like, is this in Iraq? And they were like, yeah, that's in Iraq. And he was like, all right, we're going in. We're going to stop them. We're stopping the GLA. And so, yeah, it's just interesting to play that game. And then ISIS, of course, is a thing now, and they're obviously not exactly the same, but it's just interesting to see what happens. I mean, the Americans, they have, a Paladin tank, and he says, when you right-click to tell him to go somewhere, he goes, preserving freedom. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, all right, I guess. Like, it's like, I'm carrying my bald eagle over there. Here's the freedom, boys. And it's really funny to play the game and see how it has encapsulated that moment in time when it came out, what was popular and what was the thought of, the culture at the time. And then the other thing that's been really big on my mind is Classic WoW, and it's all I can think about. It's literally all I think about. I go home, I want to play Classic WoW, and I see it, and I don't have beta access, so all I can do is talk about it. I got to do something to relieve this Classic WoW that's in my body. So I'm watching SFan, I'm watching Asmongold, I'm watching every shaman streamer I can because shamans are all I care about. But then I'm watching SFan because he seems to have really good content, but he's playing a paladin. But he just doesn't give me the same. I want to play a shaman. I want to see a shaman. And the people I see play shamans are not talking about the way that he talks about paladins. They're not talking about shamans the same way. They're not thinking like, okay, let me see how this works. How does that work? That stuff I love. I love that about shamans. I love the idea of just like, okay, what does my Wind Fury activate? Oh, there's 3 procs. What does it do? But I'm also not smart enough to do math, right? So like, I see these people that come up with these shaman guys online. They're great. They're fantastic. And I love watching them. And they talk about, proc coefficients and how much spell power per item you get. And then it brings up more questions in my head, but I'm like, I don't have access. I can't test any of that. I can't talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody about shamans. I need to talk to them about classic WoW and what's going on. I don't even care about raiding. I just want to play a shaman. I just want to run around with totems and Wind Fury and Flame Tongue and talk about frost shocking someone, earth shocking someone, trying to tank and be a complete goof and just messing up. And just going into Wailing Caverns and being like, I got this. And then being like, oh, no, I don't have this because I can't taunt. It's just fun. It's awesome. It's a great experience. I'm excited about it. I'm insanely excited about that. So Classic WoW, watching Classic WoW streams, it made me resub. I haven't played World of Warcraft. I played in Legion a little bit. And no, that's not true because I raided in Legion. So I can't say a little bit. I really did play a lot in Legion. But I stopped after we killed Gul'dan on normal mode, I think. And it was like, all right, do I really want to go into heroic mode and do the same thing? Because I just did this in LFR. I just did this in normal mode. Do I want to do it in heroic mode now? No. I don't want to do the same content I just did. The same thing. I know it's more difficult. Yes, we could possibly do it as a group. Are the people here in this group excited about doing something difficult? No, nobody is. So our group was called Reasonable Expectations was our guild. Reasonable Expectations. It was a great guild. Fantastic. I love all the people in there. But we were not, a hardcore raiding guild. We were not going to do the heroic mode. But also, how do you motivate someone to do a heroic mode of something they've already done twice? You can do it in LFR, you can do it in regular, and then you do it in heroic for better loot. And maybe a mount if you kill Gul'dan, but what's the chances of us actually doing that? It's very low because of the people we were raiding with. Just the way, nothing against them, it was just the way it was. And then I don't even know why I started talking about Wrath or Legion, but yeah. So I played Battle for Azeroth. I leveled up, and then I was like, I'm not excited about garrisons and doing quests and being locked and time gated. Literally, I remember seeing the announcement for World of Warcraft, Battle for Azeroth, and thinking they announced Zandalari Trolls. And I was like, I'm playing again. I'm playing WoW again. I didn't think I was going to play WoW again because Legion. And I got tired of it. And I said, never again. I'm not going to play WoW. And then they announced Zandalari Trolls. Here they are, the straight-back trolls. You can be as tall as a Tauren. You can wear your gear, and it looks like this. Here they are. And they showed you, and oh my god, it was Zandalari Trolls. And then, I played Battle for Azeroth, and they're like, oh, well, Zandalari Trolls aren't at release. They'll come in a bit. Not yet. And I was just like, okay. I don't really care anymore. Why? And then I quit again. I ended up quitting. I don't think I raided at all. I don't even remember what the first raid was for Battle for Azeroth. I don't even think it came out before I quit. I was just doing, I think I just got to heroic dungeons. And then, the Arathi Highlands thing came out. The Arathi, whatever the invasion or the conquest thing where on weekly it shows up and you can queue and you can get a bunch of gear, and everyone was mad because everyone was getting gear before the alliance. It was like a week before. Now the horde have an advantage because they have a 1 week advantage over the gear loot. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care. This is boring. This is not fun for me. I'm not enjoying it. And so I stopped. And yeah, right, exactly. I stopped. It was no more fun. Then they announced Zandalari Trolls coming out. I mean, I hear about it. I'm not really following World of Warcraft, but I hear about it. Zandalari Trolls are coming out. And oh, by the way, Classic WoW, which is way more exciting because I got to play the BlizzCon demo, and oh my god, it was so much fun. It was so stupid how fun it was to play a level 15 shaman and just smack stuff and put down a flame tongue totem and look at all the different totems I had at 15 and just thinking this is fun. I'm killing zebras and collecting their hooves, and who cares? Why do I care so much about that? I don't know. I have no idea. And I've been going on for 20 minutes now just talking, and I'm excited, man. I'm so excited for Classic WoW. I can't even explain. And I know the game is not going to be the same as my brain has it right now. I know that at some point I will probably get tired of it. But I want to play a shaman. I want to see Classic WoW. I want to do Molten Core as a raid. I'm hoping I can figure that out in my brain if I'm ever going to have enough time to, I'm going to be busy. I'm busy. I don't have time to stream on a schedule. Am I going to have time to raid on a schedule with a group of people? Is that fair to them if I'm going to try to do it? Whatever. Anyway, those are all things I'm thinking about. But anyway, I want to play Shaman in Vanilla WoW. I want to play Wind Fury. I want to give my friendly warrior a Wind Fury totem and watch him go ham on people, and I'll go ham on someone with him with a two-hander. I want to see an enhancement. I don't really want to play Resto. We'll see. I don't ever really want to play Resto. Elemental is what I've always played since Wrath, but I loved enhancement in Burning Crusade, but then they changed it to be like bring the player, not the class. I lost that ability, and I thought, well, I'll just go caster, because casters I kind of played a mage before, and I understood the rotation and stuff. But I want to play enhancement. And also the whole fact that the rotation's much simpler is very interesting to me. Playing enhancement shaman now in World of Warcraft, because I'm playing in Battle for Azeroth, and I'm leveling up an enhancement shaman for no reason, just because I'm trying to get the WoW fix. The rotation's so complicated. I'm level 25, and my rotation's already like min-maxing your Maelstrom growth and your Maelstrom expenditure with Lava Lash and your Storm Strike and your Rock Biter and Flame Tongue, keeping your Flame Tongue buff up. And I'm like, I'm level 25. Let me enjoy it again. Let me just see what's happening. I can't even see what's happening in the game because I don't have time to read what the guys are saying, because I have to make sure my mana and my Maelstrom and my blah, 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 blah. Which is why I love Vanilla. Vanilla seems so exciting. Anyway, that's my intro. That's what I've been doing for this week, and I hope that I can keep you guys here. And so that's Jamencast. This is what I hope for, what I plan to do. We'll see where it goes. I will see what happens. I hope I can get some really nice people to play. I'm going to get some, friends initially. I'm going to get some close people. I'm going to interview them. I'm going to see how they are playing, what they've been up to, what they want to do for life, how video games fit into their life, and what they want from life, from video games, from, everything. How's it go?
I got another transition to make to another segment, and here it comes, yeah.
All right, so here's a new segment for you since it's a new show and everything's new. This segment's going to be called What News Is There in My World? So what news is there in my world? What's going on in the world of Jamin? And a lot of this is probably going to be what's going on in your world too, but just things I've noticed and things I'm aware of that I want to talk about. So the classic World of Warcraft beta cap was raised to 40. It's exciting to watch everyone run to 30 and then sit there and get best in slot gear and then get the level cap raised to 40, and seeing how 10 levels can really change everything. So far, they haven't really, not everybody's reached 40. Not everybody is just jamming it up at 40, and not everybody has best in slot 40 gear yet. So it's interesting to see that. But to see it's almost like running a race, and halfway through the race, they just put up a barrier and they say, hold on, wait, everybody wait. And they let everybody catch up, and then they let them all do training sessions to get faster and better. And then they go, okay, it's been a week. You can start running again. And everybody's rested and well and ready to go. And boom, they're out. And they're going off to, and then boop, 10 more levels later, they have to wait again. So it's interesting to see. That's never happened before in World of Warcraft, in where it's almost like they're forcing people to twink and then releasing the twinks and letting them go to 10 more levels, and boom, you're back. So it's really interesting to see how that acts and how that people react. What can they push their character to do at 30? Seeing people go out and get these items from these red quests that they need to group up to get has been really cool, because that will never happen in when the thing releases, because no one's going to wait to get their Whirlwind Axe unless at 30 they're going to wait a couple levels to get it. I mean, someone might want to, but why would you waste everybody's time forcing them to help you get this axe at 30 when you can just wait till you're like 35, 40 to get it? It's a great axe, great weapon. But I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could do that. But it's just one of those quests that all of a sudden it changes completely how you play the game. And you don't get to see that. It's going to be fun to see level 40, everyone getting their mounts, seeing all the new abilities. Mortal Strike for Warriors is ridiculous. Like, nobody can heal now if a warrior's in the fight, which is crazy. So classic World of Warcraft, very exciting. I think most of what I'm talking about is going to be classic World of Warcraft. Soda Poppin', if you don't know who that is, he's a Twitch streamer. I'll put his link and stuff in any kind of show notes I can get. Soda Poppin' had this idea that came out, and as I'm recording this, is a couple days ago, in that people should be blacklisted. Stream snipers should be blacklisted from participating in raids because they were sniping a stream or they were griefing for an exorbitant amount of time. He didn't mean like, oh, he killed me once, you can no longer raid, and like trying to say like the Horde and the Alliance set up this kind of like thing where they decide that, but the whole question is who decides? How do you even come to that conclusion? How do you even decide on the fact that someone should be blacklisted, and who enforces that? And then who says they have the right to enforce that? You're playing on a PvP server. It sucks. You're streaming. It sucks. People are going to abuse that. But where's the line of abuse? And I think that is going to happen on a case-by-case basis because there was blacklisting in the old World of Warcraft. I mean, you had a guild of people you played with, and some guy came in and ninja looted something. You decided, no, we don't play with him anymore. And I'm going to tell all my guild friends that we're in a big guild, we're going to tell the other guilds, hey, that guy ninja looted. I don't know if you know him. I don't know if you've heard of him, but don't look at him. And it's going to be easy, to talk to your friends. Of course, there's probably going to be a guild somewhere that'll take him anyway, because that's how the game works. It's too big. How do you enforce that across a whole? You're not a developer, right? So it's an interesting idea, and it gets everyone talking, and there's a lot of controversy. People are excited and mad, and people are happy, and this is a great idea, this is a bad idea, and it just is. It's an idea. I think it'll be okay to blacklist people from raiding in your guild, but how do you stop people? Obviously, he's camping you, so he's not going to, he's on the opposite faction. So you have to get the opposite faction people to know, hey, that guy is a stream sniper, and he's a dick. You shouldn't play with him. And if you have friends on the opposite faction, then they'll probably do that. They probably will. The other streamer guilds will. And that's great enough, right? That's about as good as you can get. You can't really stop. I mean, there could be literally another guild set up just to snipe streamers. And then what do? You realize that they snipe streamers. So streamers will not deal with them, but the community's big enough that it probably won't be that big a deal. You can't really change much about that. So that's really all I have to say about Soda Pop. I think that's a really interesting idea. It would be nice in a perfect world if everyone was really nice and good, but that's not how the world is, and that's not how the World of Warcraft is. So it's all good. Some other things I've been keeping aware of, there's a couple people on YouTube that I've been following recently. Def Camp and Melderon have shaman guides. They have a lot of stuff going on. I think it's classic.live or something like that. So I have to check it out. I'm going to go look up that, and I'll put the links and stuff in the description. But it's some shaman guides I've been following. There's a basic leveling guide, a shaman totem guide, a classic vanilla shaman tanking guide, which is questionable, but you could do it if you wanted to, and if you're it's about having fun. If your teammates are okay with you doing it, then yeah, go ahead and see what you can do. Kargaz is another person. I think he's also working with Def Camp and Melderon for this their website. I think it's classic.live. I really got to look it up because I don't want to just keep running out of URL in the words. And but anyway, YouTube guides I've been following on them, and they've been really great. It's been really fun to listen because I love shamans, and I want to know more about the theory crafting on shamans and all the little details. So they got like things like, how much spell power goes in a lightning bolt, and then which talents affect lightning bolt, and which talents affect my totems, and what do my totems do exactly, and what all the little things, the little breakdown of items, and which weapon enchant is best. Is it Wind Fury? Is it Rockbiter? Is it Flame Tongue? Is it Frostbrand? Which one should I use while I'm leveling? Which one should I use in PvP scenarios? If I'm fighting a warrior, should I use Wind Fury? If I'm fighting a mage, should I use Wind Fury? Should I use Frostbrand? Which one? And they have really great answers. And following them and listening to them has been really great. Mostly they've been talking about if it's a high armor target, You can use Frostbrand and Flame Tongue to get some of that damage in, but also you got to wonder about, okay, how does my attack power, how does my gear level affect Wind Fury, affect Frostbrand? Because Frostbrand and Flame Tongue scale with spell power. So how much spell power do I need to know that those are better against a warrior, right? But what about my attack power? If I have so much strength and I'm doing so much damage with Wind Fury procs, when do I lose damage if I get Flame Tongue, or does his armor mitigation offset how much armor does he have, and how much extra bonus attack power do I have? At what point am I even thinking about this correctly? These are the things I want to know. Like, I have to look up, I have to figure out. At what point, where's the break even? Where's the break even for Wind Fury on an armored target? How much attack power do I need to beat Flame Tongue weapon? And how much spell power do I need on Flame Tongue weapon to beat out Wind Fury weapon or Rock Biter weapon on an armored target or a lower armored target? And where the break even points are those. Because obviously they scale with your stats, and it's important to know that. But in a completely vacuum with just the weapon enchants and not really thinking about your character's stats, it looks like every weapon enchant is about even, perfectly even, according to the most recent videos these guys have put out. Some other people I've been following on Twitch. Obviously, Asmongold's a streamer, but I don't think anyone needs to know about him because he's, I assume he's the number one World of Warcraft streamer. I don't know World of Warcraft well enough to say that. He seems like it. He's the only one I knew before I started looking into Classic WoW again. But now I'm following Kala. Kala's a great streamer. I followed him during Heroes of the Storm, which I've never talked about. I haven't talked about it yet on this podcast, which is only episode 1. So let me have some stuff to talk about in episode 2. But Kala is great. He's been a fantastic streamer with priests, shadow priests, following shadow priests, and just priests in general. But he's with a focus on shadow. It's been really fun watching him. He's very chill. He's very laid back, and I'll put his link in the description as well. Definitely follow him. He's got some great YouTube guides as well. And then Esfand has been the guy who really has ignited me and ignited my passion for Vanilla WoW again, even though he plays a Ret Paladin. But in my head, I want to play an Enhanced Shaman. Obviously, two sides of a different coin, really, but exciting. And the whole idea that, you don't need to have this extremely compelling and I say compelling, I meant complicated, an extremely complicated rotation in order to have fun playing the game and contribute to a group. Because there's things you can do to contribute that are not just getting your rotation down perfectly and how many global cooldowns do I waste on this, and that. Mana regen, mana consumption matters. Do I want to spend all my spells on this trash pool and then have to sit and drink before the boss, or can I just kind of auto attack? And is my team going to be okay? Are we going to be okay if I just auto attack and regen my mana through Spirit? And then how good is Spirit? And everyone I've seen, talking about shamans are like, Spirit's the worst stat. Don't worry about Spirit. You want intellect. What you want is I'm saying this like an asshole. Strength. You want agility. You want intellect, and then you get Spirit if you have to. But I mean, if I'm leveling, Spirit seems really strong. I mean, especially if I'm playing a troll shaman, because you get that little bit of health regen in combat with your Spirit, and so. I kind of want to see that. How does Spirit play? I want to play around with that leveling. I want to level like 10 shamans and just see like, hey, well, if I focus on a little bit of Spirit here instead of intellect, how does that affect me? Obviously, agility and strength are going to be the things that get me to kill faster, and I use auto attack and boom, I got him. But Spirit will let me regen between the pools. Do I have to drink as much? How much water do I need to spend? How much money do I need to spend on water every day leveling versus just getting a little bit of Spirit on my gear? Is that going to be a thing? Is that good? Does it increase my time to kill, or does it increase my time waiting for my mana? Is it going to, obviously if it takes me longer to kill a target, then it's going to take me longer to regen my health and regen my mana. But if I can do that between pulls, is cutting down that time better than just increasing my time to kill them, right? So all great things. So SFand, Kala, and then Kargaz, Def Camp, and Melderon on YouTube. And then SFan's been fantastic. Just watching him, he's a really great streamer. Fantastic guy, just really chill, and that's what I like. Asmongold's okay, but I get tired of him having to deal with his chat or him having to be a little more boisterous. I like Kala, I like SFan for they're a little more relaxed. SFan's hilarious. Kala's got he's humorous as well, but he's much more chill and relaxed, and you can just kind of leave him on, and he'll say something, and oh yeah, that's true. I'll watch that. Great, good. And then we'll move on to the next big news that I saw today, and this is from a Kotaku article, and I'll link that. Sources in Blizzard cancels StarCraft first-person shooter, and really a interesting article. Let me just say this real quick. I love Dustin Browder. Dustin, if you've ever listened to this, I love you. I love you. Love you. Okay? So Blizzard has canceled a StarCraft, I'm just reading from the Kotaku article, first-person shooter that has been in development for the past 2 years, according to 3 people familiar with going-ons at the studio. The main reason, Blizzard told staff, was to put more resources into the Diablo and Overwatch franchises. The project, which was codenamed Ares, was described to me as like Battlefield in the StarCraft universe. So you could play as a Terran Marine, gun down Zerg. Maybe they were talking about being able to play as Zerg and, kind of like a Battlefield experience. They were using the Overwatch engine. I think that's really important to know, to create this new game, a StarCraft game in the Overwatch engine, which is really cool to think about the fact that, oh yeah, they could use that engine for more than just Overwatch. They're talking about, they're moving people to Overwatch 2. Which is a rumor, and Diablo 4. So people are expecting at the new BlizzCon that they'll be doing this. I don't know how true this is. I don't know how verifiable Kotaku is. I don't know enough about them to say that, yeah, these are great. These are true rumors, and these things are all going to happen. But Kotaku, obviously has a big website and has a lot of articles, so we'll see. So what saddens me, though, is they said that Dustin Browder was the lead on this StarCraft. And it really saddens me because I love everything he does. Everything he's ever done, I have loved for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't know it was him. I didn't know that he made or helped make Command & Conquer Generals. But he did. He was there. And Heroes of the Storm is got to be one of my favorite games of all time, but I haven't played in so long because of what they did to it with this cancellation and stuff. Once Dustin Browder moved off, it just kind of stepping stone downward. It didn't seem something seemed off. Something seemed off once Dustin was gone. But I love that man. I hope whatever he does next is great. I can't wait to see what he does because he just has so much passion. And can I just have can this just be a Dustin Browder love podcast? That's what this is going to be from now on. But anyway, so they canceled this first-person shooter or third-person shooter. Is that what it is? Was it a first-person shooter? Hold on. Bum, bum, bum. First-person shooter, according to Kotaku, on a StarCraft. And obviously, it's not the first time that a StarCraft shooter has been canceled. StarCraft Ghost was canceled long, long ago. And it's kind of sad to see that StarCraft doesn't get another game in, I guess the shooter genre just doesn't fit. I guess you just can't do it. There's something missing when you generate or a first-person shooter or third-person shooter from a game that was built to be an RTS. Kind of sucks. It sucks. But, it's also probably better for the better. If Blizzard is canceling it, it's probably because it's not going to do that good. But I also don't, I wonder about the Blizzard of today. Are they the Blizzard that I grew up with? Mike Morhaim's gone. I mean, this is not the same Blizzard. But can they continue the values and beautiful things that Blizzard created? Or are they now the corporate and sliding down into, Electronic Arts territory, Activision territory? Obviously, Activision is the parent company where Blizzard's scary, a little bit scary, okay? Hearing them and what they talk about, it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit, timid. What they did to the HGC for Heroes of the Storm, a little bit scary. Although I think it was necessary and probably, they kind of jumped the gun a little bit with creating the HGC. But in Overwatch League, we're going to not talk about Overwatch League because I am not a doomsayer, but the HGC I feel like was a tiny version of that, and we'll see. We will see. Okay, that's all I want to say. I don't really want to be a naysayer or negative. I want to be positive because I'm really excited about video games, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen. So we'll see. Diablo 4 sounds fun. If they don't talk about mobile games, we'll see Diablo Immortal and great. Overwatch 2, I can't even imagine an Overwatch 2. They talk about having more PvE elements, being more Left 4 Dead style. Okay, like what? Like, okay, I got it. Like, because I do enjoy the PvE like little modes that they have in Overwatch. The little things they have, where you're fighting AI and they have unique models and stuff come out. But yeah, a lot of questions. That's all I guess is really the answer to this. A lot of questions. But canceling a game that's in development sucks. I'm really excited about, these games and Dustin Browder specifically. As soon as he's mentioned, I'm all over it. I want to see it. I want to know. I want to hear because I really trust him and I believe him as one of the greatest game developers of our generation. I love his games. Personally, I don't know why. I don't know specifically why, but he's been tied to every game I've loved. So I don't know. All right, guys. That's all my news for this that is in my world. So let's move on to the next segment, which is blah, 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 blah. Segment movement. Let's go.
I got another transition to make to another segment, and here it comes. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to Jamencast. This is the interview portion of our show. So with me today, my first guest ever for Jamencast is my good friend and compatriot. I don't know what even else would be called. Markco. He's someone who was with me back in Casticalism. If you guys ever listened to Casticalism, and if you haven't, too bad. It's gone from the internet, and you'll never hear it again. But Markco is a great video gamer, I guess. He makes video games now. Anyway, Markco, how are you? What's going on?
Great. I'm so excited to be your first, interview. I'm telling
exciting.
you, this thing, we're going to look back a year from now. It's going to be big.
Yeah, we'll see. I have high hopes, but I also have low expectations.
I guarantee you I will be your least popular person.
The least number one. Jamencast number one. This is it. Here we go. We're starting. This is very exciting.
At least I can say I was the first one on the podcast.
Yeah, of course. Like eventually, in 2-3 years when I'm interviewing, Bill Gates, and they'll be like, who else did he interview? Who else? And they'll have to go back and they'll click on it and they'll be like, oh my God, why is he talking to Bill Gates?
It'll be my only claim to fame.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's not it. That's not true at all. Obviously.
Now, if anyone does remember, we did the Casticalism podcast together.
Mm-hmm. And we did, you did the gold guide for World of Warcraft back in Wrath of the Lich King. It was really popular.
If anyone knows my name, that's what it's from.
Markco, yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Not your gladiatorial debut. You're excited about what?
I'm excited about the new WoW that's coming out.
The Vanilla Classic? Yeah, very exciting. I'm over the moon about it. I'm just like, I can't stop watching streams. I can't stop watching, YouTube videos about how to play a shaman back in vanilla, like what's the best item to use, what's this, and I'm just going crazy about it. Honestly, it's insane. It's silly, really, how much time I'm spent thinking about this game.
I feel you. I definitely feel you.
Yeah. So I want to ask, about video games in general. What was your first video game? What was the first game you ever played that you realized that this was a fun thing, this was something special?
Well, I've definitely always been a little bit of a video game addict, but when I was very young, my parents bought a Nintendo for my older sisters, and they got sick of Mario always dying, and I think I was 4 years old, and I ended up beating the game by the time I was 5. And I remember my parents being like, "Okay, I think you like video games a little too much."
The original
But
Mario 1, you beat it as a 5-year-old.
yes, I don't think that's a record of any kind, but
You don't think
I
so?
just
I think that's pretty
no.
impressive, actually, to beat Mario 1 as a 5-year-old. I think I maybe got through like the first 3 levels, and then I would give up, and I'd be like, well, it's all good. Next
I
time.
couldn't read.
You couldn't read. Yeah,
Couldn't
I don't
read.
know if I could. I don't know if I remember
I
that.
was like,
Yeah,
"What world are you on?" I don't know.
yeah, the one with the
I just
darkness.
remember this pipe.
Yeah. Well, there's this Koopa guy, and I'm jumping over him, and it's fine. Whatever.
It's funny because like I didn't know, I'm 5. I don't know. There's no internet for sure, but
Mm.
none of my other 5-year-old friends are playing. So it's not like today where you just go and look up like the answer to everything. That's one of the
Right.
most. I think that's one of the most challenging things about making games nowadays is that everyone just shares all the information, and by the time you make a game, everyone knows every puzzle like
Yeah,
within
nothing's
24
hidden.
hours.
I mean,
Right.
World of
There's such
Warcraft is like it's still huge. It's huge, and there's everything's been explored, and there's databases, and there's it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a different world. When you were growing up, even as we started to get the internet, like there were games that you never really understood how much you missed, and if you go back and play them now, you realize it.
Yeah, especially with learning about especially like speedrunners or people who play like these games at a high level that are old games, and you watch what they do and the things they know about. It's just crazy. And
Speedrunners, they take the game apart. It's a sight to behold. You ever want to really understand a game and also kind of ruin it for yourself? You just watch speedrunners.
yeah, I think I was watching Super Mario Bros. 1, a speedrunner for him, like a 2-3 months ago, and they were talking about, if I had gotten lucky if I had put the cartridge in and it had loaded up and this pixel had been here at the first starting screen, you would have known that is the way the memory was reset, so that I know that on World 8-1, when I get to this specific portion, the Koopa will be 1 pixel left, so I know I can jump. And you're like, holy shit, like that's literally,
Yeah,
I'm not even joking, like they know that's exactly what they were saying, like
yeah, the RNG in Mario Brothers 1 was done in such a way that you could predict how everything would play out
and
based
they
on the first second or two.
yeah
And that's why when you watch the streams, they all wait like a couple seconds before they start. You're like, "What are you doing? Like you should just hit start and go." And they're doing it because they know what the RNG will be
yeah they have
later
to
on in
wait for
the
a
game.
specific cue to start the game, because otherwise they'll get the wrong positioning of the enemies so that they can't get through. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed playing it the old way. That's
Yeah,
what I said. Like if you watch a speedrunner, it can ruin a game for you.
yeah, I definitely felt that in Mario Bros 3 with the ducking behind the yellow boxes and getting the whistles and being able to just pass every single world and get to the end, and you're just like, oh, I don't even have to play the game. I could just play the first levels and the final level, and you win, which I think was sort of ruining the game a little bit. I don't think I ever really actually played through the second or third world. I was just always like, I'll just use the whistles. There we go.
There's so much content in that game that no one experiences because of that. There's whole worlds that are just fascinating, like from a game design perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And no one, like, no, I don't think anyone knows about the hammer suit, like the fact that you could throw hammers as a hammer brother, because no one played World 7.
Yeah,
No one played the game that long, or they used whistles, and so they skipped it.
I think the big world was my favorite in Mario 3. Just being everything being giant. I was just like, this is so cool. I don't know why I thought that was interesting, but at the time I was like, yeah, everything's big. It's so cool.
Oh, they were so far ahead of their time.
That was an
That
amazing
whole,
game.
yeah.
That was, I think, the first game. I don't think Mario's 1 I really knew what I was doing at the time when it came out or when we were playing it. But Mario's 3, I think we played with the Nintendo Entertainment System. We did more like light gun stuff, and we did the trackpad and track and field and running in place on top of the trackpad. We didn't. I don't feel like I did as much Super or regular Mario. But when Mario Brothers 3 came out, we had the Super Nintendo version with all the games on them locked in. And we would play Mario Brothers 3 all the time on that.
So if you want to talk about one of the best games from that system. It was Mario Brothers, or Mario the Seven Stars or whatever. The
Yeah,
RPG.
Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. I actually have that on my show notes for something to talk about for me as something I love. So I don't know if I did talk about it earlier, but yeah, that was an amazing game. Absolutely.
Yeah, it just really shapes it. It's amazing as you look at games nowadays. It's hard to innovate, but so many games they just take the best elements from these original ones, and they try and make something out of it. And if you were to study game design, I'm sure they go back to some of these classics and just take them apart.
Yeah.
It's the best way to understand the genre.
And I think also the limitations of their system really helped create a game that was really special. Just knowing that they didn't have unlimited resources to put into a game. They only had so many, blocks of memory to actually place. So the tricks and things they came up with to save memory are really impressive. A lot of times they'll reuse like specific sounds or musical cues or things, and you think it's like, oh, that's interesting, but they actually did it because they didn't have any space on the ROM. And those are always really cool.
Oh yeah, you ever hear of the Mario Brothers like World -1?
Yes, I think you've showed me it.
You basically the way they loaded the pipes is they loaded it as you were running across the top of the screen. So if you were to find a way to jump through the wall with the right pixel flipping, you could not trigger that to happen. So the pipes by default would choose like the first 3 slots in memory because they had to have something in them, and that would send you to a world that didn't exist. It would send you to -1, and so it fills it out. I forget exactly how it works, but
it's like World 1-3, right? Or it's a water world.
Yes,
but it's backwards. It's weird.
And that pipe also doesn't load correctly, so it sends you back to the same location. So it's just a never-ending loop.
Yeah, until you die because you run out of time.
Yeah, it's really cool what they were able to accomplish.
Absolutely. I think the first game that I played that really, or it wasn't even me, it was my brother playing, but it blew I would watch him play it all the time, and it blew my mind. It was Final Fantasy IV.
I never played the Final Fantasies.
Final Fantasy IV at the time just changed my opinion of video games and how much what they could do, because it made me emotional and it made me invested in a story for the first time in an interactive format. I got to choose the hero, I got to be the hero, I got to play as the hero, but also there was a story that I got to experience through the hero's eyes for the first time in a game. And another thing about that game that really blew my mind was it starts off as a high fantasy game, and it becomes a sci-fi game by the end. I mean, not completely, you're still all the high fantasy elements, but you're fighting through a giant robot at the end of the game, and you're climbing up a giant robot inside his body, inside this giant robot's body, in order to get to the bad guy and stop him. And it was just like, what? Like, didn't I start this game with playing as a knights and wizards and stuff? And why am I inside a sci-fi robot? Like, it was just really cool to
kind of steampunk.
Yeah, Final Fantasy for sure was very steampunk. They had the airships and stuff to start off. It was really cool to play. I
remember having a lot of friends who played it that just would disappear for weekends.
On Final Fantasy?
Yeah, the online version anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and Final Fantasy VII is supposed to get a remake here soon, which they announced 4 years ago or something. They announced like they had a cinematic trailer for Final Fantasy VII HD remake, and it's been like 3-4 years, and they have not yet released anything.
There's been a lot of remakes of games, and I question whether that's the best decision. Like we have the WoW one coming up, but they're basically just marketing to people who really enjoyed it. I don't see how effective it will be at getting newer people to play.
Yeah, I feel like, so watching Classic WoW streams, it's been very interesting to me to see these people talking to their chats, and the chat explaining to the chat what it is, as if, I know that people in chat are not, all people who played Vanilla WoW. I didn't play Vanilla WoW. I only got in at Burning Crusade. Like right as Burning Crusade came out, I started playing. I think I was like level 20 when I was either level 20 like a week after the dark portal opened, or I was something. It was really. I remember you explaining to me just killing people at the dark portal, stopping them from going in because you didn't have the expansion pack or something, or Vinny didn't have the expansion pack.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, and you guys were
Yeah, back when World PvP was actually something you could do.
right. And seeing these streamers play in World PvP and all this, and it's all there. It's all in the game still, and it's all coming back. And it's not like there's no flying mounts. There's no way to run. There's no way to, like, if you want to go somewhere, you go somewhere, and you'll get camps. You'll get fight. Like you can fight people. Like it's just really interesting.
Well, the original, yeah, the vanilla WoW I didn't play too much of. I was only there for a little bit, but it was definitely an experience, and it was a very unique experience. And they evolved it in such a way that they grew their audience. So they definitely became, the 15 million or whatever it was. But they lost something when they did that.
Yeah. So this is
they lost the PvP aspect of it.
not only that. For me, when I look back at classic WoW, and this is what I see, is a game that was designed with an intent and a purpose and a focus. And they weren't attempting to get everybody in there. They didn't want every single person. They wanted to make a game. They wanted to make an MMO game because they enjoyed making MMOs. They had enjoyed playing MMOs. I mean, EverQuest, I think, was what I think Jeff Kaplan loved EverQuest, and he was an EverQuest player. And they knew what they liked, and they put it in their game. And that's what it was. It was just what they wanted. So then you get into the point where you have to drive, oh, look how many more subscribers we have after we release this feature. And then the focus becomes, let's get more subscribers so that, because, I mean, it's a business. You want to make money, and more subscribers is better.
They seem to try and make it, the game as dummy proof as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of appeal to lowest common denominators. And I don't mean intelligence. Like, they appeal to your simplest senses. So they give you, immediate rewards. They hit the dopamine really hard. And they don't care about creating a long-term challenging experience where you're puzzle solving or whatnot. They just give you a lot of dopamine.
Mm-hmm. And it's not it doesn't the community aspects of it is very, very watered down, because I mean, even now I'm playing today. I don't group up with anybody. I don't care. I run around and I kill things. I see people and I go, I don't need to group up with you. I don't care, because I can tag this mob. You can tag this mob. No one's fighting over any specific mob because there's no competition. In classic WoW, someone's tagging your mobs. You immediately invite them to your group. You go, hey, do you want to be in a group? Because I need those mobs for this quest, and so do you. And then you end up talking because you're spending 5-10 minutes actually completing the quest, while in retail it takes you 30-40 seconds, and you're like, all right, got it.
Well, it also, they're forcing you to group up to beat the content, and that's something a lot of games nowadays don't do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the groups are 4 people or less.
You
don't need 40 people.
40, yeah, exactly. It's insane. So people are saying that vanilla WoW is set was it set for 25. If you look back, the raids were tuned, or Molten Core specifically was tuned for 25 people, but you could bring up to 40 if you wanted to, so you could have a lot of people underperforming and doing nothing basically.
Yeah, I found that impressive and so interesting, and it made you look up to the people who were able to do it.
Yeah,
and say, wow, I want to be able to do that. But they changed it, and if you think back, they went to 5-man raids. They went to, these specialized dungeons where there was just all this content for smaller groups.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost track of that larger group audience, people who wanted to commit to a game for years and not play any other games. And instead, they kind of just created another mobile app, just another game that
I think garrisons were the worst addition to this game. That the mission table and putting things in every day and checking in every 24 hours to see what pixels your characters got. I mean, everything's pixels, so why do I care about the garrisons? Why the garrison specifically? But the real-time aspect of clicking a button and having to wait 24 hours and then checking in again in 24 hours, and then if I don't check in 24 hours, I don't get my loot immediately. It's when I next come in, so like But like if you want to
Min-max.
min max, you have to log in every 24 hours or every 18 hours, 12
Well,
hours, whatever.
everything you did in Vanilla WoW was a journey. So it's like we're gonna journey out to this dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
and we might get ganked along the way, but we're gonna stick it out. We're gonna get into the dungeon. We're gonna get it done. But it was this process of journeying to a location together as a group. You needed
Mm-hmm.
each other, so it created this charisma with your comrades. You need to go out and work together, and you became friends. And I don't make friends with people I play games with anymore. It just
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
No, not at all.
And you're in and out. You kind of make fun of each other, if anything else.
Yeah, the LFG tool, you just you just jump in the group, you do the dungeon, you don't talk to anybody, you don't say anything unless you start wiping. Then you kick the guy who's causing you to wipe, and then you get an instantly new person that you never have met before, and then you never see each other again after you beat the final boss. If you ever have to even do any of that, you just kill everything and then you're done.
So for Vanilla WoW to succeed, they've got to recapture that. If they don't, it'll be dead because people will just, maybe they'll level up, maybe they won't. They're not going to do any of the end game content because they're going to say, I did this already once.
Oh, no, I don't think anybody did. I don't think there's not very many people who are around who are going to be like, I want to do this again. I think the people who did it already are actually the people who are not going to be playing Vanilla WoW, unless they're super fans.
So you're thinking of people like yourself who didn't get to fully experience it.
I mean, I'm talking about 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds. It's still a good game. Like, games are still games. They don't have to have the highest fidelity graphics and everything to be fun. And so all those people,
like my games,
yeah. So all those people, exactly. We didn't even talk about that too. All these people talking about their games or talking about games in specific. They've never played, but they've heard about it. It's like there's these people playing since Wrath of the Lich King, people playing since Cataclysm, people playing since Warlords of Draenor, people playing since Pandaria came out, but they never got to play vanilla. And there's so many people, I'm sure, that never got to experience vanilla. They're going to join in. And I'm sure there's going to be tons of people that are like, oh, this isn't for me. I don't enjoy this. This isn't fun. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. I don't have the energy to do this. But for me, watching it, it looks relaxing. My rotation as a shaman is extremely basic. There's literally 2 spells for elemental. There's like, you don't even pick up Stormstrike at 60. When you play a shaman in a raid because there's a 15 debuff slot on a target.
I can't even remember my build.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I played so much in Wrath of the Lich King that when I went to play again years later just to try the game out, I was still hitting all the same hotkeys that didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, your stances, you don't have warrior stances.
It's so funny, but if I think now, I think I played with a 2-hander and I had the Warlord like PvP gear.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have very much stuff from any of the raids because I'd only done a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I think I was just a straight 2-hander build. I don't even remember anymore.
And it was
that
funny.
was the fun of the game, though. That like you don't get that a lot with current games where you have so many choices that like really affect your gameplay, and you really. How many times did you just spend there just staring at a tech tree? Like a skill tree.
Yeah. Outside the game, you could go, I mean, not that we had as good internet, but I mean, there was ThoughtBot and a couple resources and going and thinking like, oh, how would I put my points in? Like, what if I put one more point in block chance? Because if I have one more chance of block, I'll block it. Is that better than 1% more or 15% more increase to my healing spell? Or should I, questions like which one's better? And they're arguably kind of negligible. Like, but you're still like trying to min-max.
That was the brilliance of their game. It was so balanced.
Mm-hmm.
You could sit there. You could put. Now there were always like best in slot skill trees.
Yeah.
But one of the brilliant things they did was they somehow figured out the math to make it so I can figure out which is better, healing or DPS, and I can make them basically the same amount of points, do the same amount of what would you say, effectiveness. So I can put 5 points in healing or put 5 points in block, and it's the same effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just brilliant because it allowed people to play any way they want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was, I mean, people could say, oh, that's a trash talent. Don't pick that talent. Another guy's like, well, the way I play, this talent's actually really good because I do it this, and this. And you're like, oh, okay.
And there were always those people, thinking of Thunder and myself who did the 2v2 build with
Yeah.
Prot Warrior,
Yeah,
Horde
yeah, yeah.
Paladin,
Wrath of the
like
Lich King. Yeah, doing
or
double
Rep
prot.
Paladin.
Oh my god.
Well, it would those kinds of things can't exist unless they put the effort into making all the trees equal,
Hmm.
and this even down to the skill points, making them equal in some way.
Yeah.
Really impressive stuff when you think about it.
Yeah, the new talent trees are for me is lacking. It's like I just go on guide and I go which one's the best, and they go this one, and you're like, all right, got it, thanks. But even that actually, looking playing now, it's really fun to play an elemental shaman. And there's a couple points. There's one that says my chain lightning or my earthquake is a chance to reset my chain lightning and make it instant cooldown or something or whatever. It makes it instant cast and
It feels good.
yeah,
It just feels good to build your character.
yeah. So anyway, I want to move on to talk about your future in video games. What are you doing now? I mean, obviously, I understand. I just want to explain to the viewers. What do you do? So you are making games on Steam, which they're fun. They're a blast to play. I enjoy playing them, and they're only $1, whatever it is you're charging for them. You're criminally undercharging for yourself. You should be making people pay at least $5 for these games to get some money. You need a little bit of money, a little bit of side action, buddy. I think you need to charge a little more. But so right now,
I really
you're
appreciate
working
that,
on
man.
Rogue Party. Is that's the game, right?
Yeah, Rogue Party. I've been doing a facelift for it, making a lot of changes to it. I mean, basically, I work a full time job. I made a decision right around when I sold my just my two copper blog.
Mm-hmm.
I made the decision to just give it up and make this my hobby and not my primary job because I felt my primary job was important.
Right.
And
You're being a
I
responsible
could have
adult.
done it. I could have
Yeah.
done it. I could have lived off of 30 to 40K a year and done what I loved,
Yeah.
but I said I can't do this forever. So I do this stuff on the side. It's mostly for fun, but I tell you what, even with like Rogue Party and everything I'm working on, I'm always learning, and it's fascinating to look at what I did 5 years ago. I started making games on XNA 4.0 with Xbox 360. And it evolved, and when Xbox 360, went belly up, I said, okay, I want to keep making games. This is fun. And I moved to Steam. And I basically started off just porting games from 360 over to the PC. And it evolved, and I got better and better. And I've met all these great people who chose to play the games, who chose to give me a chance, because some of them are not good at all. And you're being very generous. Some of the games are pretty fun.
I think my least favorite is Block King, and I think you've made me play it a couple times, and I hate that game. I honestly, every time I get loaded up, I'm like, why are we playing this game? This is awful. I don't know what's
so
happening,
funny.
and yeah, but I know that there are people out there like yourself that are actually good at it and understand what's happening, and yeah,
Well, it's just one of those fast-paced games that you almost there's just too much going on at once.
it hurts my eyes. It hurts my eyes to try to process what's happening and like figure out where you are, and I'm already dead by the time.
Basically, you
I
shoot the concept of the game was you don't shoot each other, you shoot the floor so that people fall to their doom.
Yeah,
And it's absolutely hilarious, but it sucks if you're the one on the receiving end.
It's very
It's very fast.
This
Could be over in 2 seconds.
The skill floor, no pun intended, is very high. I feel like, and I have no idea what's happening to start the game.
Yeah, and if you're playing with people who do, it's not fair.
Yeah,
but what's interesting about me,
it's still interesting, and it's it's got its own mechanics. Go ahead.
What's interesting about all these games I've made is they have nothing in common. I'm not making a horror game and then just horror games. I'm making RPGs. I'm making 3D shooters. I'm making side scrollers, jumping, platform games, RPGs. I probably already said that, but I like those the most.
Those are really good.
But yeah, I'm just very eclectic because I'm just doing it for fun. But what I've started to do more recently is try to refine my skills a little bit, and even though it's a hobby, try to make it a little more marked. So I'm starting to take the time to actually learn how to model, learn how to use all these editors, and do the artistic stuff that I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the coding, and I'm fast at it.
Ridiculously fast. I just want everyone to know that this guy codes like a whole game in like a night, and then he's like, "Here it is, it's done," and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like,
but it's never refined, right? Everything can be done more and refined, and every pass you do, it gets a little better. And what I'm learning to do is make another pass or two before I publish it. And it's amazing, how much better things can be if you just give it one or two more passes,
Hmm.
iterations, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
and I feel like
So I'm learning that now. You learn stuff every day. It'd be like if I took my blog and when I was working on my blog, every once in a while I revamp it, and redo the entire layout.
yeah,
And
you realize there's something you weren't getting particularly right, and you want to redo it and get it just the way you feel that it'll be a little bit better.
what I try to aim for now is to make the player feel something, whatever emotion it is. So tying it all the way back to what you said in the beginning. The amazing thing about games is the interaction you can have with people and the emotions you can make them feel. And I think it's the most powerful of any entertainment form, even more powerful than movies.
Hmm. Absolutely, because you're not just along for the ride; you are a vehicle, and you are actively participating in the story.
Like in the latest game I'm working on, Rogue Party, you can feel like utter crap if you don't know how to set your items up, and you can get absolutely destroyed. And then over time, you learn how to play, and you can become basically a god in the game
Yeah.
and just melt things.
Luckily, with your help, I was able to attain the godhood status, and yeah, the game was a blast. And it was just fun to destroy things, and you're like, yes, I want to do
Well,
this every time. And then you have another run you do, and it does not go as well, and you're just like, oh, this sucks. Like, God damn, this really sucks.
well,
But without the
I
crappy runs, without the horrible runs, like I'm thinking about World of Warcraft Classic WoW, without the horrible like work that you have to put in sometimes, the good moments don't feel as you're just like constant. It's not a constant like, oh, you kill, destroy, 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 and you're like, all right, I'm done with this game because it's too much. I mean, I get it. Like you're over it eventually. But with
yeah,
the
well, you're gonna love hard mode.
hard mode, yeah. And when
It's
you told me
just
about hard
for
mode, I was like, why hard mode? Why wouldn't you have people complaining about your difficulty of your game? Why would you make a hard mode?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah,
The answer is because I don't want to be bored.
yeah.
But no, a lot of people
Because
ask
you are
for
good
it.
at the game, and you don't.
No,
Yeah,
you would be surprised. There's a lot of people out there who are like, I love this game, but I now that I get the hang of it, I'm kind of winning, more than I'm losing.
yeah.
I'm like, just wait.
Hmm. Good. Well, hard mode sounds fantastic. Is there anything in the pipeline for Rogue Party, or anything ahead of Rogue Party that you're excited about?
Well, I'm really excited about the Diablo clone that I'm making. So I'm starting off with the Diablo 2. I don't want to do Diablo 3. I didn't think it was that good. But
Yeah.
I'm starting with the Diablo 2 like
You're not going to
camera
have a real
angle.
money auction house inside your.
No.
Okay.
No. I think I would love to do an auction house, but if I went that far, I'd have to buy a server
Yeah.
and all that
You just do
wonderful
make Auction House Simulator 2019. That'll be
stuff.
yeah, and just
You're the main boss is Markco.
no. I mean, literally, it would just be Auction House Simulator, and it would be just a massive online game, and literally the only thing you could do is trade virtual goods, and they'd be
That's
garbage.
fantastic.
They'd be just garbage.
We'll call it the stock market. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But
E-trade.
I'm just I guess it would be stock market simulator because you're not actually going to put up real money. But you could teach children. It'd be great. You'd be helpful make new
So
corporate investors.
I'll say this. One of the things, I'll just deviate for a second. One of the things I'm most proud of, which I don't think anyone knows because I've never said it. So this is breaking news.
Oh, I'm ready. Here we go.
When I was making my blog, I was surprised people would come to me and thank me for helping them with their finances. And I'd be like, it's a video game blog. And what I didn't realize is I was teaching them like, how to save money by not spending money, not wasting money. The concept of just getting what you need. And
Yeah.
I was just really surprised that like there were people of all ages reading the blog. So you never know when you're going to influence someone who's like got a developing brain basically, and they're ready to learn something new. And these people would like message me and be like, I just bought a house and I just wanted to thank you. And I was like, what the hell?
Wow. Yeah. People,
Yeah,
I made a
exactly. No
huge
pun
life
intended.
decision, and you're so thank you so much for helping me figure that
Two-
out. Wow.
Two
That's
people
amazing.
got married on my site. I hope they're listening.
They got married on your site.
Yeah, like they met each other on my forum.
Oh, they met through the. Okay, I thought you meant they had their ceremony like live
No,
on
I
your
was not at
forum.
I was not at the ceremony.
I was like, how does that even work? Like, yeah, like can we just
I would've
refresh?
canned
Keep
your
refreshing
ceremony.
quickly. Refresh it quickly.
would have ganked them like we ganked that one wedding.
Yeah, that was a great video. Yeah, is that Swifty? That's Swifty that did that, right?
We did that too. We had a.
Oh, you had
It
one
might
as
have
well.
been before your time. It
Yeah,
might have been before your
probably
time.
was.
But there was a video, and at one point in the video, the guy who's filming gets hit by like a warrior with an axe, and it was me.
That's awesome.
I had my little cameo on the video.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of stuff that you could do in the original game. You can't do now. But yeah, but in terms of bringing it full circle, the next thing I'm working on is the Diablo 2 thing. I don't have a name for it yet, really. I was thinking like something to do with space.
You know, it could be like Satan 2.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
Just call it Satan 2. Everyone's like,
that's pretty much what the first one was.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about doing this concept of robots in space who basically they're the humans who control them die, and now the robots are all kind of stuck on a planet because they crash land.
Yeah.
And they're reluctantly forced to be heroes and, go against their programming. And I was just coming up with this funny scenario to create a reluctant hero.
A reluctant hero robot that what does he want to do? He just wants to farm all day, or he wants to do some mediocre task all day, but he can't?
Well, he'd love to farm gold.
He'd love to be he just wants to play World of Warcraft. That's all he wants to do.
I may be projecting.
Oh, okay. Got it. But he's stuck in a dead end job, and he's got it, but he could be doing what he loves, but he knows he got to make that money.
I'm really projecting now.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm excited for it, and it from the early builds that I've put together, it works very similar to the Diablo 2 interface with the way the mouse works. And
okay, so you're gonna charge like $1.50 for this one, maybe like a 50% increase in price.
It's funny. I'm just so hesitant, and it's funny with WoW. Blogging and everything, I'd put a guide out there that was worth $37, and I'd be like, because I knew it was probably worth more, and I always had this concept that I undersell but over deliver, and then people appreciate it, and they just really do appreciate that, but it's not a good business model.
Yeah, well, you're underselling quite substantially, I feel like. I don't know what other $1 games are on the market at the moment, but yours are phenomenal. So it's for $1, you're getting ridiculous. I mean, a gumball is worth what, like a quarter of your game. So
yeah, when people complain, I think about that.
Yeah,
it's like I just charged you a Wawa coffee.
Yeah, and
you played for 7 hours and you're upset.
Yeah,
but that's why I don't care, because I'm just doing this for fun.
I think you charge them $5.
A lot of great people.
I mean, even if you get 20% less sales, you're still making the same amount of money, right? So
that's good math right there. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people will say $1 game, I'm not even going to look at it. Yeah. So I might have to raise it just to get more eyeballs.
Yeah, I agree. I look at $1 game and I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy this. This is just, I don't even browse $1 games. I don't even go look at them at all.
Yeah, some of it is because I'm not a good artist, so.
Yeah.
I've started to come into my own. I've started to develop some kind of artistic style. But at first I was like, no one's going to spend a lot of money on this. It just doesn't look good. It may play great, but it doesn't look good. And a lot of video gaming is the sight and the sound. And it's one of the things I'm starting to learn. Yeah.
And it's great, man. I'm excited to see Rogue Party. I'm excited to see Satan 2. It's going to be great. I can't wait to watch. I guess it'll be Robot.
Yeah,
I guess it would be Robot. It would be Robot Satan 2.
Robot Satan 2.
But yeah, that's good.
We're gonna cut this part out, right?
No, this is the linchpin. This is the finale.
The headline.
Yeah, Robot Satan 2 announcement. Get your wallets ready, guys. You're gonna have to make sure you save up enough money to buy this game.
I'm afraid of my Twitter after this.
Yeah. Yeah, for all years to come, especially when during the Bill Gates interview, when they come back and look at this and they're like, where's Robot Satan 2? It was announced 15 years ago. But yeah, all right, Markco, thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you for helping me. I really appreciate it. This is going to be it's exciting to just be able to talk about video games and really get all this energy I have and all these things I want to say and talk about out and be able to converse with someone who has the same, not necessarily the exact same focus on video games, what they like and what they want and what they're doing with video games, but to get an understanding of how we all interact with this. Because I think a lot of times in our lives, like you said, people look down on the video games and see it as a thing that, like you said, I got to go get my real job, do the thing that I could do the thing I love, or I could do the thing that is practical and makes me good money and is a real thing. And for me, I could live, just give me enough to live, man. That's all I want. And if I can do what I love, I will do it. So that hopefully this is something that can kickstart that. And that's all I want. And so thank you for helping me and helping me be my first guest and being my first moment here. I appreciate it.
Well, you definitely have a lot of infectious energy. I'll put that to you. And I wish you the best of luck. And thank you for naming my next game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Robot Satan 2. I should get a royalty, I think, for it. 50 cents. So you can charge $1.50 now, and I'll take 50 cents for each one just for taking my name.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Thanks. And that's it, guys. That's Jamencast episode 1 in the bag. Thank you for watching, or listening more. I guess I'm still used to YouTube and Twitch. But thanks for listening. If you want to follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. I think I will put all the links and stuff in the description below. I appreciate it. Not much more to say. I can't wait for episode 2. I'm going to try to get some really nice people to get on and talk to me and share their love of video games. I can't wait to talk about it and see more and talk about more and just really kick ass, guys, because let's do it, man. Video games, they're awesome. And let's just, I can't even describe how excited I am to keep doing this. All right. See you on the next show.